Pushcart Prize winner, Pulitzer Prize winner for writing. Blows my mind. She's had stuff published in she's had some stuff published in a number of European magazines in South America, even in Russia and China. She couldn't get it into Tibet, but she's been trying. And she's going to have a tour in northern Alaska reading her stuff to a bunch of Inuits. Anyway, Eskimos. No, I'm just kidding. This woman actually has absolutely phenomenal writing, and I'm really looking forward to the feature. So ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our feature tonight, Kristy Bowen.
You left out the Guggenheim Fellowship, so
I forgot.
my student loans down. They're probably about that much.
When did you win that? Congratulations.
Just yesterday.
Congratulations.
She actually has one. I'm making stuff up.
Yeah.
Good one.
Good night.
I'm going to start out with some older poems. This one's called Night Drive. On Route 7, crosses line the highway like arms, and this a seduction. The towns with names like Elizabeth and Lena, how a thing happens or it doesn't. Count the variations of red in my hair and you'd know I was a liar, my tongue humming like a tuning fork. My trick of concentration is a word that begins in the diaphragm and spreads to the limbs, as the headlights flatten the asphalt, skim the open throats of bullfrogs. Still, I fear clearings, the verb scribbled and unwritten, the place we come to where the night is shaped like a spine, where my thighs bathe in the radio's thin heat.
Kristy, do you want us to just applaud when you're done, or it doesn't matter?
You.
Okay.
Whatever you feel moved.
That was beautiful. That's an overflow.
Yeah. About 5 years old? How to tell a story in a dead language. Perhaps it begins with cell memory, the ability of the body to recall azaleas or bruises, to remember the verb forget long after the night has leaned a bit closer and whispered something like your name. Still, year by year, there is less of you, but harder, bones empty as a sparrow. This penchant for stolen cigarettes and driving without headlights. The scars beneath your temple and a wrist that aches when it rains. Now you tell me your husband is kind in his way, smells of gasoline when he spreads you beneath the eaves on a quiet street. I can only think of how at 12 we watched the Egyptians, the museum's cool fiberglass labyrinth, how they carefully rinsed the organs of the dead, placed them in their dark jars.
Wow.
When I was in a class at Columbia, we were supposed to imitate one of the poets we were studying, which was Sharon Olds. So this is my Sharon Olds ripoff poem. Unsound. The wrist holds impossible cruelties. Dead pets nest in the curve of an ear while every heartbreak has a spot just below the throat. Even at 11, car wrecks twisted the cage of my ribs. Milk-skinned and amber-tongued, I dreamt of my mother's rubied ovaries, their accurateness, me and my sister, our mouths pink and flawless as a ballerina in a box. Surely we rested like a dragonfly at the tip of her spine, or a knot in the rope of her dreams. Even now, a grandmother summers in my sternum, while another swims the bloodstream, the heart's gates and locks. My ankles still turn at the slightest imbalance. Sangria. Not red, not exactly. More like dawn, or the illusion of it. Hummingbirds, humidity, azaleas splitting in your palm. In Texas, the nights are sueded, starlit. There is no language for the soft of your hands, their thunderous braille. Bruises ripen on my wrists like plums. Nevertheless, I am sly, scarlet-lipped, gathering light in the folds of my dress, crossing my sevens, polite and girlish. I still dream of the desert, the woman you once kept sleeping in the curve of your body. She slices peaches, pulls the hair from her face. She is sweetened and full of rain. Even the coyotes have lost the scent of her. The paper house. At the edge of the field, we see the angriest bodies. The spell is in the wrists, the spell in the shampoo. Girls with long throats and a penchant for divining rods. In the end, the house burns beneath the moon opening like a mouth torn out of a book. All our rooms have wants, our wants broken doors. We smolder beneath dresses, our buttons, our brocade dark. Even now, the mice shred newspapers in attics filled with cages ripped from hooks in parlor walls. In parlors ripped from a woman's skin, all eyelets and hooks. At the edge of the field, we watched with matches in our skirts. Sleeping sickness. Soon, all your poems have trains. Lurid, erotic places plagued by vagueness and mangroves. Still, the sunlight undresses the terrain, opens its bones, its throat, and even oranges begin to fever you, the white slip sweated to silver, and the tea gone tepid in its pink-rimmed cup. You want something scenic and disastrous, the dearest thing stolen from the king and plied with honey until her irises bloomed like grapes. How insomnia recalls pennies, white cakes in pretty boxes, even the sheets rinsed in lemon water and gathered beneath the half moon. What monster? In the end, I told one lie, then another. It was easy. The babies kept hatching, but the surface resisted. In the backyard, in the break front, I chewed the hearts from paper dolls one by one, took one, then another by their slender throats, rendered them useless, their pretty napes sodden in my mouth, all that sugar beneath skin. We spent hours watching women draped over mid-century chairs like sweaters. It was my ailment, my misgiving, counting rabbits and ranunculus. I took a lot of baths to stop the blood. I read one magazine, then another. My heart was a burnt-out movie theater, a darkened drugstore, or some other poetic thing ridiculous and aimless as wings. I forgot about the war while rearranging the plates. We wanted to understand what science was, that big blue hope bursting through our door. I begged you to stop, but you never did. I took one train, then another. How to reimagine your life through mythological characters. A few years ago, I actually was writing a lot of poems which were using Greek mythology, and I always said that that was basically, I think, as a young poet, that's kind of where you turn, because you're supposed to write these poetic things. You haven't yet been able to parse the poetic out of everyday experience. So these things are important. These are tragic things. First, there will be a thin string winding, a monster in the gridwork, terrible, half god, half man, a horned anteros hiding in the bushes. You'll be half cocked, half alive, half gone by the time you get there, where girls turn into trees, then back into girls, their crippled ankles turning in the wind. Imagine you are pursued by a stranger with very white teeth. Imagine the hunters gone from their supper at the sound of the tripwire, the thin spindles of your spines snapping and cracking. Here, the girls are always changing into cows, then back into girls, into tables and countertops and stairwells with steep drops. You'll be pursued by a woman with a bow and arrow. She may be your mother or your sister, but you can't tell for all the blood. You'll be wild with fever by the time you reach the threshold, where a stranger will cut out your tongue, your hands before he takes you, before we replace your body with a doe at the very last second.